everyone. Today we are gonna learn about cell, which is an important topic in biology. Okay, so cell, which is the unit of life. Now, before discussing about cell, the word cell has different terms, has different meanings in different terms. Suppose the mobile phone, what we use, that is also called as cell phone, right? And the prisoners which were kept in the prison, that is also called as, they are put in the cells. Okay, but in biology, the meaning of cell is different. Okay, so in biology, the meaning means definition of cell is that cell is the smallest basic structural and functional unit of life. Now, cell is called the smallest. Cell is the very smallest. It is the basic part of any living organism, whether it's a bacteria, plant, animal, human body, anything. Now, it is the basic part. Next, it is the structural and functional unit of life. Now, why the cell is called as the structural and functional unit of life? Because all the living organisms were made up of cells, and cells are also essential for performing all the various life processes which are required for sustaining life. Furthermore, cells provide form and structure. It processes the nutrients and then converts into a usable form, usable energy. Also, multicellular organisms have a specialized cells that perform specific functions. That's why cell is called as the basic structural and functional unit of life. Now, after discussing about cell, the meaning and the definition of cell, we are gonna look into historical background of cell. Okay, historical background of cell. So, the first cell was discovered by a scientist named Robert Hooke in the year 1665. So, Robert Hooke was an English botanist, and in the year 1665, what he have observed, that he have founded thin sections of cork. Okay, the cork was made from the bark of a tree. So that cork, that dead cell, what he have observed, that those thin slices under a compound microscope. Okay, in a compound microscope, he have observed those thin slices, and what he have noticed it, that there are certain honeycomb like compartments. Okay, certain honeycomb like compartments are there, and those honeycomb like compartments, he called them as cells. And the term cell was basically derived from a Latin word which means cellula. Okay, so cellula means a hollow space. Okay, so which means a hollow space. And the observations that all he have founded, he have written those observations, explained those observations in a book, namely Micrographia. So Micrographia was the book where he have explained his observations, and he was the founder. He have discovered the cell in dead cell. Okay, in dead cell. After Robert Hooke, another scientist came whose name was Anton van Leeuwenhoek. Okay, Anton van Leeuwenhoek in the year 1674. He was a Dutch draperer, and what he have observed, that there are living cells observed living cells in microscope, under microscope, and the living cells were mainly bacteria from the tart of our teeth. Okay, from the tart of our teeth. Then the erythrocytes, sperms. Okay, sperms. Then protozoans. So he have observed the living cells. So you have to remember in your mind that Robert Hooke was the scientist who have discovered the cell, who have observed the dead cell, whereas Leeuwenhoek observed the living cell. Now, after Leeuwenhoek, another scientist came, Robert Brown. So, Robert Brown in the year 1831. So Robert Brown have discovered nucleus. Okay, how he have discovered nucleus is that he have reported the presence of nucleus in the roots of the orchid plants. In the roots of the orchid plant, suppose this is an orchid plant, so from the roots of the orchid plant he have founded the presence of nucleus. Okay, so after those scientists, a theory came, which is called as the cell theory. Okay, cell theory. So, cell theory was given by first two scientists in the year 1838, and a scientist named as Malthus J. Sheldon. Okay, Malthus J. Sheldon, and in the year 1839 another scientist, Theodor Schwann. So J. Sheldon was basically a German botanist, and he have founded that all the cells are of plant, I mean the plant cells, as he was a botanist, so he will study about the plant cells, right? So all the cells of the plant are essential and have a similar structures. Okay, they have similar structure and made from cell wall. So suppose this was a plant cell, so all the plant cells are made from cell wall. He have founded that. Okay, whereas as Theodor was a British zoologist, so obviously he will study about animals. So what he have observed, that different types of animal cells do not have different types of animal cells. Under different type of animal cells, he have found that they do not have the cell wall. The animal cells, suppose it's an animal cell, so the animal cells do not have cell wall, whereas the plant cells have a cell wall. But both plant cell and animal cell, they have similar certain more or less similar organizations they have in common. Okay, and one more thing was that Theodor Schwann have given a hypothesis. Okay, hypothesis. He have given a hypothesis which states that both animals and plants are formed of cells. See, who has given the hypothesis? Theodor Schwann has given a hypothesis that both the plants and animals, they are formed from cells. So it is very important to remember. Sometimes it gets confused that who has given Schwann. So you can remember through a trick that Schwann is what? It is a duck. So duck means zoologist. Schwann was a zoologist, right? So from the duck, okay, zoologist he was. So Theodor Schwann has given the hypothesis that both the plants and animal cells are plant and animals are made from cells. Okay. Now, after Theodor Schwann, a scientist, Rudolf Virchow. Okay, Virchow in the year 1858. Rudolf Virchow was a scientist. He was a German physiologist. So what he have founded that he stated that all the new cells are formed from the pre-existing cells. Okay, all cells are formed from pre-existing cells. Okay, so what Rudolf Virchow have this sentence he have given a statement that omnis cellula a cellula. So my dear students, you have to remember that who have given omnis cellula a cellula? Rudolf Virchow. Omnis cellula a cellula means all the cells are formed from pre-existing cells. Okay, so after all those different scientists work, a modern cell theory came. Okay, after combining all those theories, a complete cell theory came. Okay, a modern cell theory came. That first is that all the living organisms are composed of cells and products of cells, and all the cells, second is all cells are from pre-existing cells. Okay, as we have told that all the cells are formed from the pre-existing cells. Now after those theories, cell theories and all, we are gonna look at the three functional regions, of a cell. So any typical cell, it should contain this three important regions. So suppose this is our cell. Okay, so first region is this. So this is called as plasma membrane. So what is plasma membrane? Now what is plasma membrane? Plasma membrane, it is an outermost covering. Okay, it is an outermost thin transparent layer. Okay, and this semi-permeable, this layer membrane, it helps in the exchange of materials between the cytoplasm and the extracellular fluid. And but in plant cells, the outer membrane of the plasma membrane, there is a rigid, protective and supportive layer which is called as the cell wall. Okay, so what basically plasma membrane is an outer covering, and its function is to exchange the material between the cytoplasm and the extracellular fluid. Next, second important region is cytoplasm. Okay, cytoplasm. Now cytoplasm is basically this portion. So cytoplasm is what? It is an amorphous, homogeneous, colloidal ground-like substance which is present between the plasma membrane and the nucleus. Okay, inside the one more thing, that inside the cell, we have a region which is called as the nucleus. So the cytoplasm is present between the plasma membrane and between the nucleus. Okay, and this cytoplasm has been cytoplasmic structure. Basically, it has been divided into two categories. Okay, first is your cell organelles. Okay, and second is cell inclusions. Now, what are cell organelles. Cell organelles are the living cytoplasmic structures. Okay, for example, endoplasmic reticulum, okay, endoplasmic reticulum, or ribosomes, Golgi body, mitochondria, then the plastids which were found in plants, lysosomes. Okay, so these are basically living bodies. Whereas the cell inclusions which were also present in the cell, these are non-living structures, okay, which are present in the cytoplasm. For example, vacuoles. Okay, vacuole is non-living structure, okay, and it is a cell inclusion. So cytoplasm, so what we have got to know, that cytoplasm has two categories of cytoplasmic structure. One is cell organelles, okay, and another is cell inclusions. Now after going much deeper into the cytoplasm and all, we are gonna see a new region of the cell which is called as nucleus. Okay, so this portion is your nucleus, third region, which, okay, this nucleus is it might be a membrane bound structure or it might not be a membrane bound. Okay, some cell have this membrane present inside outside nucleus, whereas some do not have a membrane. And this nucleus, it has DNA, it contains DNA, and the DNA is been containing in a, suppose this is our nucleus, inside the nucleus we have chromosomes, and inside the chromosomes we have DNA, right? And this nucleus, what it do is that it directs and controls all the cellular activities. That's why it is called as the director of cells. Okay, director of cell, because it controls all the cellular activities. And the DNA, it forms the gene, which is also the unit of heredity and variation. Okay, next, on the basis of the nucleus, two cells are been divided. Okay, on the basis of nucleus, two cells are been divided. So so first is prokaryotic cells, okay, and second is eukaryotic cells. So what is basically prokaryotic cells? Prokaryotic cells are those cells which do not have a defined nuclear membrane. So the nucleus do not have a defined membrane, whereas the eukaryotic cells are those cells which have a proper defined nucleus. So suppose this is a nucleus, so it do not have a proper nuclear membrane, whereas the eukaryotic cells, they have a proper nuclear membrane. That's the important, means main difference between prokaryotic and eukaryotic cell. So that is what we have got to know a little bit about cell. What are the scientists who have given the cell, and what are the theories, the cell theories, and who were the scientists, and what are the important region, a typical cell, whether it's a bacterial cell, plant cell, animal cell, human bodies, any cell, it should contain these three important regions. That is what we have got to know. Thank you.